So this is Kongsamut for Thanakul, and this is a gym up in Ayutthaya where Dieselnoy is here in the background watching Lumpini while Kongsamut and I are training. But Kongsamut was a gym mate with Dieselnoy for a number of years. The Sor Thanakul gym is actually quite famous. And when I came to train with Kongsamut, I asked him to show me his style, and he's like, oh, well, I'm Muay mat, which means like a puncher. And I got excited and was like, that's awesome. And he was excited that I was excited. So he actually just started me out doing some pretty standard, just like feeling things out on the mitts. But then when I started asking him questions, it kind of like evolved more of his style. But he's small, fought at like 102 pounds or something. So staying in as a puncher, anyone has to do because punches are more of a short-range weapon, but staying in as a puncher when you're very small like this requires a lot of kind of tactic and finesse, and his style, as it started to unfold, I really got into. It was really cool. I was having a hard time with my hook on his mitts. It just kind of felt weird, so I was asking him kind of what was wrong with it, like how I was not landing correctly, but I think I really just needed to stay closer to him. His style is really just in the pocket all the time. So I'm asking how wide you need to keep your stance, and he's like, you don't want it too narrow and you don't want it too wide, but see how he put his arm down like that? He basically wants his knees the distance apart as his elbow to index finger. So I've heard like shoulder width. Anyone's heard shoulder width, but he actually uses his forearm to show how far apart your knees should be. Look at his lean. I love this thing about these ex-fighters is that just looking at their body positions, even in how they hold pads, they show you what their lean and weight distribution is. He's saying Gauma. Gauma means like step forward. So he wants me like stepping on all of these punches. He definitely has this like centrifugal force back and forth. Like anytime you go in one direction, you're whipping back in the opposite direction because you've loaded already. You can see it in the way that he's holding the pads, like what he's waiting for, but look at his body when he goes. The bend in his knees is so nice. So see how after that uppercut he's waiting for that cross? That is totally a standard combination. But if instead of thinking about combinations, like here's an uppercut, here's a cross, you think about the combination as where your weight is, not which punch you're throwing. You follow the weight. Oh, this is when he starts really showing his style. His jab, how it comes up like that and is so long. He's talking about accuracy, how it doesn't have to be super hard, but when you hit with accuracy, you can knock someone out already. I'm like, if you're really short, like me, do you just keep jabbing? And he's like, yeah, but in Muay Thai, you gotta interrupt the legs. So here's really his style. It's this punching and kicking, which is high and low, but you're basically annoying your opponent all the time, just interrupting their balance all the time. And he's showing me here that he kicks actually right on the knee. It's not on the knee cap, but it's right on the knee joint on the side of it, inside and outside. And he makes this point. Look at where he's looking. He's looking me right in the face anytime he's kicking me in the leg. So now he's starting to pull it together with this. With Ramba, we call it stinging. We say pung pung because he's got this like wasp icon to himself. You can watch Ramba in the library, but
he looks up here.
This kind of stinging, like constantly hitting the leg, and it's not super powerful, but you're constantly making your opponent deal with your shit.
มองขา
He looks down and then kicks me in the head.
เขาเรียกลูกหลอกไว้หมัด
Oh, look at him move.
แล้วเตะมาข้างบน
He's like, when you kick, see how he just takes a little step over to take the power out of the kick, and then he's hitting my open side.
ท่านต่อยอย่างเงี้ย
Like I'm wide open for anything else that he's
ไม่รู้หร
doing.
อก
ใช่
มองบน
ใช่
ไม่
So
ใช่
he's basically annoying my front leg to land his
พอ
punch.
เตะเวลาเขี่ยปุ๊บดึงเท้าไปปั๊บ
โอ้โอ้
So there he's showing that if he's annoying my leg and I step back to get my leg out of the way, he
Here,
just
he
steps
follows
forward
that.
and follows me. Like he walks into the next stance to just stay on me. But by switching like that, he's in my open side all the time.
อย่า
โอ้ยโอ้ย
Oh,
โอ้ย
he has this thing where it's like light power.
ใช่
He's showing how to hook around the guard. Like you fish hook through it.
โอ้
And then once you get someone tightening up their guard like that, that's when the elbow comes because they've put themselves in a position where it's gonna come. But that's this whole light power thing, is that you're stinging when you go light rather than it being tapping someone.
he fought for a belt against Samart
แชมเปี้ยนนะ
ตัวสูง
So
มาก
the very first belt that Samart won at Lumpini,
เส้นแรก
he
ของ
fought
สามารถ
against Kongsamut
How many
at 102 pounds.
กี่กิโล
102 ปอนด์40
Samart was a kid. He was very, very young.
เด็ก
This was in like 1980, maybe?
ตอนนี้ชิงก็2522
ใช่
2522 ตอนนี้61นะ
ไว้ที่ไหน
He sent me a photo
Lumpini.
online
Yeah.
of them
Lumpini
standing on
Kongchai.
either side of the
Champion
promoter.
Muay
One
Thai.
Song
Did he
Chai.
win?
One Song Chai was holding
No,
the
this is
belt
Samart's
between
first
them.
Oh, Samart first
Samart
belt?
was significantly
Samart.
taller, even as a kid.
ใช่
But
ยาวมาก
Samart keeps a lot. So Kong Torni Kong Samut as a puncher was trying to stay in, and Samart just teep, keep him off. It's a good tactic.
ดีแย่ก่อนมวยไทยมันต้องแย่เข้าไป
ใช่
แล้วต่อยเข้าไป
So he's saying in Muay Thai,
ต้องแย่
you want to jab
ตั้งไว้
to stay close. Like it's basically like having a feeler. Same as boxing. But because you also have knees and kicks,
แยกจังหวัด
what you do after you jab is different.
ครับครับปัง
So you add in that leg kick because as you're annoying with your jab, you're going to be altering your opponent's body position.
อ่า
Look at him look at me as I throw that leg kick. He totally wants me to like keep looking in his eyes while I kick his leg. You don't want to look at the leg.
ปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บปั๊บ
You look.
I keep
you
looking
look
at the
away.
leg
You look like a.
because I don't want to miss. He looks away though, like he like scans around. So if you watch what he's holding in his pads, it's all about where my weight goes. Like the back and forth of it is because of where my weight goes from twisting to one side to throw power, and then you've set up for the other side. And then what he chooses in terms of what he's going to be holding, of whether it's a kick or a punch or a leg kick or something, is based on distance. So you look at distance, your own twisting, and open side. The way a pad man follows you when you like stop actually striking and just move to a different spot in the ring, the way they follow you shows how awake they are. He's totally in his like
แรง
mode.
แรงปึ๊บลูกนี้ไม่ต้องแรงธรรมดา
His uppercut is really cool.
ตัวนี้ก็อย่างนี้นะ
See how he kind of scoops it? He scoops it under the chin. It's almost like a Three Stooges like chin flick, except it could knock someone out. It's very long, but he goes like under the chin.
เอาใหม่ไหม
ไปไหน
ช้า
Look how wide his hook is, but it's not from the arm. You still turn the torso, but he makes the arm into this like bent kind of, I don't know. bar that all comes as one piece, with the twist being what throws it all at once.
ปุ๊บมาปุ๊บมาตามมาตามมาตามมาตาม
Even when he holds pads, see how his arms are kind of out wide like that? He doesn't have his elbows flying out so that you're losing power. Like, if your elbow is too high or kind of coming out more wide than you need it to be, you're losing power. Like, the power is shooting off in directions you don't need it. But because he makes his arm all one piece, even though it's kind of away from his body more than some of these other legends have taught, he has these beautiful angles, and the twist of his body makes it so strong. So there's Diesel Noi, sitting in his chair, watching Lumpini fights on TV. So awesome. Going to this gym and like this absolute legend is just popping his shirt off, sitting there watching, smoking a cigarette.
ไปลองแข่งถ้าลองแล้วผมลองแล้ว7 ทีแล้วอีกแข่งต่อใช่ไหมแข่งต่ออยู่ว่า
It's a really beautiful gym up in Ayutthaya. It's also a resort, so you can go and stay there, and there's got like a restaurant and historical tours. There's the ring behind us in that other area over there. It's covered, but it's kind of more outside. It's really nice.
เข่าอย่างเดียวเดี๋ยวก็ไปตี
อย่างเดียวแต่ว่าปั๊มเยอะๆต้อง
ปั๊มเยอะ
So he's asking me what my style is.
ฉีดเจาะ
ทีมจับ
แต่ว่าท่านตัวเตี้ย
แล้วก็
And I'm saying because I'm short,
รถถีบบ่อย
I
ใช่
get teeped
ๆ
a
เดินมา
lot.
เขาถีบ
I love how he shoves me off there. He's short, so he got teeped a lot too.
ใช้ข้างไหนถ้าเขา
But he's showing how to parry the teep.
มือนี้ปัดเขาเป็นมวยฝั่งไหน
When someone shows you how to parry the teep,
ค่อย
it's not about necessarily the technique of how you parry the teep. It's what that technique leads to.
เดินเข้า
It's
มาจะ
kind of
จับเข่า
important.
ถูกไหมเขาถีบก่อนเนี่ยถูกไหมซินวี่มวยเข่า
So he's saying if you just walk in and try to teep, it's really easy. Or if you just walk in and try to knee, it's really easy to teep you off.
จำไว้จะเจอมวยฝั่งนี้ปัดฝั่งนี้
When he shows me to parry the teep, I'm parrying it to the outside.
ฮะ
See how
ปัด
that
แล้วต่อย
opens
มา
him
ได้
up? So that now my power side is right in
เป็นมวย
his
อย่างนี้
open area from where I scooped
ปั๊บมือนี้คว้า
the
ค
teep.
อ
If you scoop it in the opposite direction, which some people will teach,
ปั๊บ
you're moving the teep across your opponent's body, which is going to turn them.
ถูกไหม
But he's doing it to open them up
มันต้องอย่าง
like
นั้
a
น
clam.
ก็ปั๊บปังปังปั๊บ
And then here, he's... That was the first time I kneed him, and I didn't knee him that hard. But I'm pointy, and he did not like it at all. He starts making a joke about safety first.
เซฟตี้ก่อนเซฟตี้ก่อน
Safety first.
เซฟตี้เซฟตี้
So he's making this point. He'll have me parry the teep,
ถูกไหม
kick, knee, and then grab. So basically you do all of these strikes on your way in to get to the grab and knee. Like you can't just walk in and grab a knee
ลง
because you can be countered by one thing and be done.
ปั๊ม
So you're working your way in at different distances with strikes.
ปังปั๊บแล้วมือนี้จับคอก็ได้แทงเข้ามา
So
เลย
see how by letting him kick first and blocking it, I then get like 3 strikes in
ปัง
off of just that
ปัง
one.
ปั๊บฟันศอก
This is this concept that a lot of these legends teach, which is da. Da is like continuity or continuation. So it's not one strike and it's not a set combination. It's continuing on using the natural rhythms of how your weight is shifting, how far away you are, and where your opponent's open side is. It's totally what he's teaching. But see how he's showing me how to throw like 2 or 3 things on the way into that grab rather than just walking in and grabbing.
เดี๋ยวปั๊บยับเข้ามา
So see how I'm going to his blind spot now. He wanted that kick on the outside of his leg because the way he's turned, he can't defend that.
ถูกไหม
And once he's busy dealing with the fact that I just tagged the back of his leg, which isn't a point, like it doesn't matter, it's just to annoy him,
แทงก็ได้เตะ
then I can get this heavy shot into his open
นี่
side.
ก็ได้
And then you go back to annoying and you start again.
ปั๊บวิธีปังปังปังปังปัง
So his whole bang bang bang
Bang.
thing here
Bang.
is getting me to feel where my weight is, what the distance is, and where he's open so that I can keep striking
นี่ลูกต่อเนื่อง
before grabbing. Like when you grab, you've basically ended
ฉะ
that
นั้นคุณต้อง
conversation and now you're just gonna nail someone hard, crush them, or throw them down.
ยกบัง
So
ธรรมดาอย่าตก
he
ใจ
wants you to do all of these things on your way to that.
เตะนี้บังโอ้แทงเตะนี้แทง
It's like don't rush the joke to the punchline.
บังบังถูกแล้วก็ทีบปัดได้ถ้าเขาทีมนี้เขาทีมทีมนี้เป็นมวยอย่างนี้ถูกไหม
จานนี้จานนี้
แต่แล้วการไหนอ่ะ
ใช่
คุณถนัดการไหน
ใช่
การซ้ายถูกไหม
So we're
Kun
talking
betul
about
buat saya, kun
stance,
jangan mengai belakang
like
kiri.
whether it's
ถูกไหมปัด
mixed stance or left side, right side, all this stuff.
ถูกไหม
You can see here that we're opposite
เขามา
stance.
ช้อนหมายถึงว่า
So I'm gonna try to teep his open side. He's using this word chon. Chon means like a crash or a clash. So like chicken fighting, bull fighting, and car crashes is chon. So in a fight, chon is the clash of people coming together. So when he's saying chon and I'm teeping, he's basically talking about when the teep makes impact. You want to catch it at the same time. You don't want to like dodge and get away.
อ๋อ
You're catching it upon impact and taking the impact out by slightly moving
ปั
yourself.
ดโอ้โหโอ้
But then you use that opportunity to land something
โอ้
better.
ถูกไหม
ใช่
หันไปอีก
See how by turning him like that and just that little tag on his leg, which isn't a big point,
โอ้โห
now I have this huge open shot on the other side. Like it got me to the shot that I wanted.
ถ้าอาจารย์มวยหมัด
อ่าฮะ
ถ้าชกกับมวยเข่า
ฮะ
So I'm like, you're Muay mat, you're a puncher. When you fight with a knee fighter, what do you like? And he's like, oh, I love fighting against knee fighters because they come forward.
การง่าย
ใช่
สมมุติว่า
Look at what he does.
คุณเข้ามาจับคุณแล้วคุณแทงเข้ามาแทงเข้ามา
So he's like, a knee fighter wants to come and grab. That's all they want. Look at him block my knees. He's just lifting his little legs. But it's actually super painful when I make contact, and he's not even doing it hard. Then, once my leg goes back down, he just twists and interrupts and tags my legs. Like, it would make my legs so tired. This is my favorite, his front
เอา
uppercut.
เสร็จ
มวย
ปุ๊บ
เข่าชกไกล
It's so long.
ๆใช่
ถูกไหม
It's the same distance so he loves fighting knee fighters because they stay in
So
the distance
knee and punch is pretty much the same distance. So it's like who's gonna get their point in.
ถูกไหม
But see how he interrupts
Huh?
the way that I come in?
ถูกไหม
He basically like stops my chin before I can get a grip on him.
อ่า
And then he pushes me to his
Boy.
arm length and can throw these gorgeous, powerful
สารคุ
punches.
ณตี
See how he's always going after my jaw?
กอดกรรมการแยก
This is a thing, as a clincher, I know this. When you try to push someone, if you're pushing just any old wear, you use a lot of power. If you're pushing on someone's jaw, they are gonna go, and you don't need to use a lot of power because the body goes where the head
ถูก
goes.
ไหมปั๊บเอาแทงมาก่อนแทงมา
So see how he takes a little step back?
ถูกไหม
He's creating the distance he wants at short range.
ถูกว่า
He dodges my knee, just gets out of the way, and then nails my leg immediately on his bounce back so that he hasn't lost any distance. If he only takes that step back, he's losing ground and it looks like he's trying to get away from me.
ถูกไหม
That's not Doi Mat. That's not Muay Khao. That's femur stuff. So
ให้คุณแทง
he takes this little step back to get out of the way, but then see how he immediately rubber bands with an attack?
เสร็จแล้วคุณเก็บ
And then when I'm coming trying to grab him, he'll just shove me backwards a little bit to get to his perfect punching distance.
นะนี่ฝัง
Back in the golden age, you would see a lot of punchers versus kickers. That was a combination they really liked to put together. Now you see more knee versus femur, but the knee versus puncher was really exciting because of that chon clashing thing, and it's up top versus down below.
ใช่
Oh, his uppercut is crazy.
ปั๊บไปมา
It's seriously like a Three Stooges nose flick, but like knockout power. And see how when he grabs my leg, he pulls his body away first so that when he attacks me, it's really visible. That's like back row can see that.
Do you see how he's like-
He's getting excited now because I'm actually improvising, trying to hit him. and he's like having to actually engage with the movements. He's so happy. Oh, it hurts. See how he's ready with his legs all the time? He's ready to nail my legs as I come in.
Learn that uppercut from him. He has a very good uppercut.
Uppercut นะ Oh
Oh,
คิก
นี่ก่อน
look at how he twists his body for that uppercut too. It's a little bit like Sagat.
He step over.
ปั๊บ
He just slides over. That's just to take the impact out of the kick. It's like a little way of dodging. But by coming over, see how he digs into my body? Instead of catching the kick or like any kind of whatever, he just comes over
ตัวตรง
and then straight into my open side.
His arm comes out
This is where I notice that his arms are kind of like
You don't have to close your mouth
out. They're not really, really close to his body, which is something that's been emphasized by quite
หนัก
a
เป็น
few
เบา
trainers. Chai keeps it really close. Sagat keeps it really close.
หนักเป็นเบา
But he's got this like semi-wide thing that's really beautiful because of the way he angles his
จะ
body
ต่อยหมัด
first.
นี้ก่อนเข้าใจไหม
So if he catches my kick, I can punch him.
ไปจับ
But I'm basically punching his closed side. Like it's a weird angle for me. But he's punching right into my open side and my jaw.
ก้าว
See how he switches?
Oh, he stepped
He's
forward.
got this symmetry.
อ่าฮะ
ออกปัง
อ่าฮะ
So it's the same thing of when I like pulled my leg out of the way when he was kicking it and he just walked into his other stance and kicked me.
มวยอย่างนี้อ้าง
He's doing that with these punches.
วัดข้างบนเลย
So he's like, that's fine, you can punch the body right here, but then
ป้า
come
มา
up
ปิดลง
high.
อ่ะยังไม่เออว่ะ
He wants both.
มาเลย2ทีปล่อยเลย
It's not just
ที
one
แรกข้างบ
strike.
นแล้วปล่อย2มานี่เลยมา
ข้างบนข้างบนนี่
อ่าปั๊บ
So it's the high-low.
ปัง
Because people can't
อ่าฮะ
เห็นไหม
ถูก
can't
ติด
block
มา
everything. So the more that you strike, the more they're going to be overwhelmed, and then you can just keep
อ่า
going.
ต้องมีด้วยเขาปิดแล้วคุณไม่เอาเล่นลูกอื่นได้ไง
ใช่
So he's saying bit loud. That means that they're blocking up top already.
คุณจะลืม
So then you just come
ต่อย
and
ใหญ่ได้
hit
ก็
the
ปิด
legs.
ต่อยใหญ่
Like
เลย
anywhere they try to block, you then just go to the other area until they try to deal with that, and then you come back.
ใช่
High, low, high, low.
อย่าบนม
ใช่
องบน
นี่
รอล่าง
ใช่
ถูกไหม
ใช่
อย่าบนมองล่างเตะล่าง
ใช่
มองล่างเตะลำตัว
Oh,
ใช่ไหมมอง
ใช่
look at how high he jabs up.
ใช่
I don't know if that's because he's so short or if it's like how he thinks about it, but it's beautiful.
พุกอยู่ที่จังห
แร
วะ
งจากไหน
Because he jabs up and then his cross actually comes
อ่า
kind of
พลัง
down.
พุกจากหัวไหล่
His power comes from his
Oh,
shoulder
look at that.
หัวไหล่
Yeah, he has a
Look
very
at that
long,
power.
beautiful,
He twists his body. It's not an
like a
arm
robot
punch,
arm.
but look at how it comes
A little bit
out.
like Sagat uppercut, a little bit.
ส่ง
And then
Right.
it's kind of like when you see chicken wing knees, how they kind of come out, but then they end up right in the center because they angle. That's kind of what he's doing with his punch. He like brings his arm out, but then because of the twist of his body, it comes so
โต๊ะ
centered.
อังอ่าฮะ
He's punching the solar plexus.
นี่
อ่าฮะอ่าตัวเข้ามาตัวเข้ามาด้วย
I actually really like having the arm kind of out like that because the twist
And you get on the
becomes
front
so
foot.
much
The front leg.
what throws it.
เออ
เห็นไหม
You can absolutely do that with your elbow close to your body, but I feel it when it's like out like that.
ถูกไหม
ใช่
คุณนั่งเข้าไปเลย จะกล้าต่อยคุณบังเข้าไปเลย
ใช่
งัดปัง
So he's like, when your opponent is blocking like this,
เอ้ยเอ้ย
you keep your guard up so that you can come in close, but then look at how everything
ใช่
comes out of that twisting.
ใช่
ถูกเปล่า
So you can go around someone's
ถูก
guard.
มันต้องเป็นชุด
ถูกค่ะ
ๆเพื่อนยัง
He's like, it feels good, right? Like you just keep going.
เอาแล้ว
ใช่
แก้
You
ลู
don't
กที
stop and like take time to breathe. You just go until you
หา
can
ยาง
knock them out.
จากถีบมาปาดถูกไหมปาดถูกไหม
So see how now I'm teeping him and he's basically just swatting it until he can grab it, and now I'm kind
อ่า
of screwed.
แก้ให้ได้เลยไหม
ปังด้วย
อ่า
That uppercut off of it. Look
It's
how
so
long
long.
it is.
Boy.
He comes into your center line all the time
ให้ดึง
You
เข้า
step in the middle?
yeah
อ่า
So he's always attacking right down the middle.
ถีบ
but ทำไม
Even though some of his stuff comes, it starts kind of wide. Because of his twist, it's all coming down the middle. And then when he's swatting my teep out of the way and catching it,
นิดหน่อย
นิดหน่อย
Look at where
มัน
he
จะช้อน
goes.
ได้
He goes right into
มั
the
นจะช้อน
middle.
ได้
So he'll pull me to
You
the
pull it
outside
through.
of his body so that I'm crashing
ใช่
into his
อ่า
power.
ฮะ
นี่
He's showing me how to
You pull it
scoop
by
a
you.
teep. Basically, it's
Elbow.
like in baseball when you're wearing the mitt and you just let the ball like
Teep.
fall into your mitt. It's like that with the heel.
อ่าทีบไหน
Oh, look at him move his body just a little bit.
Right.
But he's got my heel so good.
ช้อนเสร็จอย่างนี้ก็ได้ปล่อย
Chon
เลย
set. Chon
เพราะ
is
ปล่อย
the
ขา
clash.
จะลงทัน
Set
ที
means finished. So he's like, once
How
they've
to
already
win
done their
that?
teep, like now they're done, and you're holding their heel.
ไม่ได้
ไม่
So
ได้
you don't do it before they've finished their teep. You just kind of like use that catcher mitt catch
he's
of the
supposed to
heel,
hit me afterwards.
and they finish their move, and then you do your pull and counter.
He hits with his shin like
And he flexes his foot.
Oh,
On
knee,
it. Yeah.
right?
ใช่
no it's not flex
It was.
He kicks into your thigh with like the middle of his shin. He does not kick with his foot.
ใช่
It's
แล้วเว
super
ลา
hard.
ได้อยู่อะเนี่ยตรงนี้มันติดจุดอ่อน
โอ้ยโอ้ย
And there again, he's emphasizing to kick the joint with your
โอ้ he
shin.
hits on the knee
เดี๋ยวก็โอ้โอ้โอ้
And there he's using his foot in order to not hurt me, but he wouldn't do that in a fight. He wouldn't be hitting with his foot. He's showing where to tag the leg.
ปั๊บปั๊บ
Oh.
ตรงนั้น
See how he just moves around? He's like, go ahead and block wherever you want. Because every time you block, it opens somewhere else, and I know where it is. It's like whack-a-mole. And here, he's just shifting side to side to get out of the way of whatever I'm throwing,
กล้าจับไหม
and then sweeping to the other side with his hand. So pretty.
สั้น
ใช่
And I'm on one leg. He catches my kick. He knows my leg is there and all my weight's on it. So when he tags it, that's
มัน
gonna
แบบไหน
hurt.
เวลาเดิน
So I'm like, if you're a puncher, when you're coming in, how do you guard? Like, what is your guard to close
ยาวมือ
distance?
หนึ่ง
He says you want one arm long and one back by your face to protect.
ระดับนี้ ยาวไม่ต้องมาก ยาวเนี่ยเผื่อ
Yep
เขาเดินมากระแทกออกไปหมุนได้
Donma means to
หมุนได้
walk.
หนีไป
So he's like, come forward
ทีบ
with your guard like this.
ยับทีบ
So see how I'm protected on 2 layers? It's like I have an outer fence and like an inner wall.
ฮะ
So the one close to my face guards whatever gets through the front one, but the front one can push him, jab him, hook, whatever. The front one is offense and defense at the same time, and then the back one is your like full back, stays back there.
ยับห้าทีแทงดัด
จับได้ใช่ไหม
ใช่แทงมาตรงๆเลย
So I'm like, can you grab with this front arm? And he's like, sure.
ฮะ
Hit
ที
first.
บครับฮะทีบ
So see, I have this long defense,
ฮะ
but I can still come forward.
ใช่
เราชนะแล้ว
So it's like you have
สบายๆ
everything on the
นิ่งๆ
front side that's going to hit first, but then you have everything on the back side that's power as not only a secondary defense, but
แทง
if you've set it up with your front
ถูก
side,
ไหม
then you can go with that back side.
โอ้ย
His interruptions of knees are really beautiful. Just bringing his knees up like that. It's like he turns himself into a spike.
ปั๊บปั๊บหัดปั๊บปั๊บ
And look at how he twists.
ปั๊บปั๊บไม่มีพลาด
The degree to which he twists and keeps his legs a little bit straight reminds me of Muay Thai, which is a Baran style of Muay Thai. But it's very, very twisty and symmetrical.
แล้วคุณต้อง
And it's
โต้
all about
ที่คุณดูแล้ว
defense.
คุณจะโต้
ใช่ใช่
See that? He like goes after my leg and I move my leg out of the way and try to counter, and he's already got his knee up
เตะขึ้นมา
to catch my counter.
he's so relaxed
It hurts, and he's so relaxed. He's like, I could do this all day.
เดินหันนี้นะ
ปังปัง
ถูก
That uppercut is incredible.
He's like a porcupine or something. Like he's very
ใช่
ไม่น็อกแต่มือ
he's very small, but if you try to get to him, he's spiky on the inside.
ใช่
มันปิดยาก
Here he's showing me that
Closed.
uppercut.
They don't
ปิด
see it.
ยากแล้วไม่ค่อยมีใครสอน
Because it's right up the center and it's so long, it's very hard to guard. People are very open in the middle most of the
แก้
time.
ไง
But look at how he just like it's like he's
เอ๊บ
just knocking
ฮะ
ใช่
with just his fist up into my jaw.
โอ้ย
And then if that part gets blocked, he just goes to the body. Like he can just keep going with any of it.
ที่นี่ใช่ไหม
มันก็ปลายหมัด
I'm asking where you hit, like if you
Ha.
still hit
Kamera.
with the same
ธรรมดา
knuckles
มันเป็
you
นอย่าง
do
นี้
when you punch.
ถ้าอย่างเงี้ย
ใช่
มันเป็นตรงนี้
อ่า
ถ้าอย่างนี้
ใช่
He's saying that if you go too long, you're going to hit with your fingers, which isn't any good. So you have to like curl your
ดัน
wrist
จ
a
มูก
little bit.
ฉีก
ใช่
But he's like, if you don't hit the jaw and you hit the nose, that's great because it makes the eyes water.
makes your eyes water
Him just hit me with my
ไม่
own
บอกใคร
glove.
นะ คนไม่บอกให้หมัดผมต่อยน็อกหมดนะ
ใช่
มวยเข่ามาก่อนนะผมเข่าแทงกระจับ
He's saying that you can knock people out with this. It's not hard because you don't have to do super power.
ผมตั้งปั้ง
See how he just blocks my trying to grab him and my
แทงคืน
knees?
เนี่ยเข้าใจปะ
And once he's interrupted what I'm trying to do, he has this immediate counter.
ปั้ง
เฮ้ย
มันแทงกระจับ
Oh, hits my
ไม่
leg.
มันแทงมาก่อนนี่ก็แทงกระจับได้
He said back in his day you could knee people in the crotch.
นี่กล้อง
เมื่อก่อนเดี๋ยวนี้
He's
ก็
like,
ห้า
it
มแล้วไง
hurts.
เมื่อก่อนไม่ห้าม
I know.
เมื่อก่อนไม่ห้าม
back in his day you could knee people in the crotch
Oi.
เมื่อก่อนไม่ห้าม
I've heard that it's because of diesel noise that you're not allowed to knee in the crotch anymore, that became a foul. I don't know if that's true, but watching his knees, it's a nice story. Like, it's a believable story.
อย่างเงี้ย
But see how
วัน
he
นี้มัน
just
แทงอีกผม
blocks?
ก็ยกปั๊บ
And because I've already
ครั้ง
done
ที่
my
สามปั๊บ
move,
มันไม่ทันยกเลยผม
his counter is almost guaranteed to land.
ใช่
ขาด
ใช่
This is why so many fighters like to be counter
ำมวยเข่าอย่า
fighters.
ไปตกใจ
When
เราแข็ง
someone's weapon comes out first,
ยืนตรงๆเลย
your counter has a much higher chance of landing because you've foiled their plan and then have this
พยายามเตะนี่
immediate
อย่าไปเตะให้มันสูง
back strike.
มันไม่เจ็บ
ทุกอย่างดำได้ใช่ไหม
He's saying if you hit the thigh itself, it doesn't hurt that much, but if you hit the knee,
ใช่
แต่ตรงเนี้ย
it
มัน
really hurts. That's why he
อ่อน
keeps emphasizing hitting on the joint.
ใช่
เตะแล้วเจ็บ
ใช่
บางคนนะขาแข็งเลยตะคริวกิน
ใช่
คุณเตะเป็นล่ะปั๊บ
ใช่
ปั๊บคุณอย่าไป
And see how he goes to
ปั้ม
both
ขาเตะ
sides?
นี้ไม่มีประ
So
โย
it
ชน์
starts messing with people's
การ
balance.
เตะคนเนี่ยเตะขาต้องเตะขึ้น
ด้วย
เจ็บ
เจ็บมาก
คุณใช่คุณน่ะเจ็บมาก
ใช่
เพราะ
Jet.
มันเตะ
Jet means
Come on.
hurt. So he's like, this is definitely going to hurt.
ใช่
ไม่ไหวแล้ว
And as the fight goes
ระแวง
on, it can wear people down.
ใช่
And then once you start messing with their stability and they start getting really worried about you hitting their legs, that's when the hands start
ปั๊บปั๊บ
start
ปั๊บไม่ต้อ
landing.
งไปเตะแล้วลำตัว
So even though
เดี๋ยวมันก็นอน
ใช่
Muay
เดิน
Mat,
ไม่
so
ได้
even though he's a
แม่ง
puncher,
ต่อยไปเตะลำตัว
he
ไม่มีประโยชน์
likes to do these things to the legs in order to make his
ยก
punches
สอง
more
ยกใช่ไหม
effective.
เตะขาเขาจะตายอยู่แล้ว
ใช่
ยกสามออกมาต่อยหมัดเตะลำตัว
ก็ชอบ
He's like, you do this in round 1 and 2. People get so distracted trying to protect their legs that all your punches are going to land.
เพราะฉะนั้นยกเตะ
They just
ขา
stop
แล้วอ่ะ
thinking
เขามี
about
อา
up
การ
top.
อยู่แล้วต้องเตะอีกแล้วเขาจะไม่ไหว
ช้ามาก
ถูก
rounds
And it
1 and
makes
2
you
just bash
slow.
the legs and then you can
To make them look weaker.
yeah. But he does this he does
This is the
from
thing
behind.
about
Just
being a
everything
puncher
low,
is that
like,
it's hard to
Yeah.
catch people. Like you have to, if you're fighting Muay Thai and they're like running away from you the whole time, you have to catch them in order to land your punches. It's the same with a knee fighter. You have to like grab someone before you can land those.
ใช่
So he's basically taking the opponent's legs out so that they can't
ห่ว
run.
งขา
ห่วงขาปั๊บเราก็อยู่ใกล้ๆอยู่แล้วปั๊บ
And he's like, you mess with their legs so that you can start landing your punches, or you mess with their legs and then head kick. Like low, 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 and then bam
คุณ
up
เตี้ย
top.
คุณยกใกล้ๆซ้ายยกซ้ายมา
ปัง
ต้องขางขาเยอะ
So he actually kicks the head from very
ๆ
close.
ปานทองนะนนท
This is
ไทย
punching distance, but he can kick the head from here.
เตะก้านคอสูง
เออ
ๆ
He's short,
Sometimes.
so he said that he was susceptible to head kicks because he's so small.
ใช่
ต่อยกันสองครั้ง
ใช่
แพ้นอกคน
So you gotta keep your guard. And then you gotta distract down low enough so that you can set up for the head kick.
He said he could kick people in the head from really really close
Very close, yeah.
พระหัดเล็กหัดกำแพงหัดชนะ
เนาะ
He fought Parahat leg.
ผมแพ้ชิง
He said he got kicked in the head by
ใช่
ยอดมวยผมต่อยมาหมดอะ
ใช่
พวกเนี้ย
ชอบชกกับมวยฝีมือไหม
มวยฝีมือ
ไม่แร
I
ง
asked him, do you like
ผมชอบ
fighting
ช
with
กกับมวย
Muay
เข่า
Thai?
มวยเข่าม
วยเข่า
And he's
ต่
like,
อย
I
ง่าย
don't like fighting with Muay Thai because you have to catch them.
Thà
But he
cây
really
cây,
likes
vừa
fighting
tỏi
with
mai,
Muay Khao
tỏi-
because
tỏi
they
mặt
stay
ngay.
in.
ใช่
แต่มวยฝีมือเราต่อยยากเพราะมันหนี
ใช่
เราต้อง
It's like
เร็ว
it's
กว่า
so
เรา
hard
ถึ
to
งจะ
catch Muay
ต่อยกับมวย
Thai
เร็วเราต้องเร็ว
ใช่
because they're
ถ้าไม่
always
เร็วเราต้อ
running.
งจับ
ใช่
เราต้องหาโอกาสจับเขามวยฝีมือนี่เขาเตะเร็ว แต่พยายามต้องหาทางโอกาสไม่ให้เขาหนีเร็ว ก็คือต้องเตะขา
ใช่
เตะขาไม่มีหลายรูปแบบคือ
He's
เตะ
like,
แล้ว
if you
ให้
hit
เขา
the
หนีไม่ได้
legs of Muay Thai, you can slow them down. But because they're moving all the time, it's hard to catch the legs. Like, You basically have to do all the work to slow them down by hitting the legs first.
คุณเตะมา
Whereas with a knee fighter or more of a straightforward staying in fighter, it's easier to hit their legs because they're not running around all the time.
บังถูกไหมคุณเตะมาผมบัง
But this is the thing about fighting a puncher. Punchers need their legs. That's where their power comes from. So if you're fighting a puncher, absolutely go after their legs.
เตะมาผมตัดคุณเตะมาผมตัดเดี๋ยวก็ได้โอกาสต่อย
Oh.
ไม่ต้องรีบต่อยมัน
So this is something actually that Jen Hong Tong talked about as well. Jen is a kicker,
มันรู้เราเป็นมวยหมัด
and he said it's hard when you're fighting a puncher
ถูกไหม
because they want to wait for your kick and punch you.
ถูกไหม
And here, Kongsamut is saying,
So he says
as
he
a
loves
puncher,
fighting Muay Thai 'cause they stay close.
that's
You
the
can hit
same
their
thing.
legs.
But
It's hard to fight femur.
if you're
They're
waiting for their
moving all the
kick,
time. But so
it's like
he's
who's going to be
you know they're a
first.
kicker.
So
They know
he's
a
like, instead of
puncher.
trying to be
So when they
first,
kick, they're
a
trying to
couple
pin
of
his arm.
times you kick their
They
leg
kick the leg a bunch
instead of
of times
punching
first.
to slow them
And then
down,
he uses his
and then they
You
start
see him block
leaning
your-
and all these different
เตะมา
things.
อย่างนี้ก็ได้
So that now when you're both as a kicker and a puncher
ถูกไหม
waiting
อย่างนี้
for
ก็
each
แก้ได้
other,
เตะมา
he's gone after their legs a few times, and then he's going to come with
Oi.
the punches. Look at that beautiful block he does where he just actually
ถ้าเรากล้า
hits my thigh as I'm kicking.
ใกล้ๆมันไม่เจ็บ
He's saying with a kicker, when you step close, you take the power out of the kick.
มันบิดตัวไม่ได้ฮะ
See how he can he can catch me when I kick
ตัว
too.
ไม่ได้ มันบิดน้ำหนักไม่ได้
He's like, when you're short, you want to stay in like this all the time.
อย่างเงี้ยรุนแรงแน่ถูกไหม
If he just stands there and I kick all day, it's going to hurt him, and it's a lot of points. He just steps slightly in.
ข่าวอะ
I made a joke that as he was throwing me to the ground and I landed on my butt, he could knee me. And it took him a second to like realize what I was saying, but then he found it really funny.
เขาเดินน่ะ
ใช่
เราเข้าใกล้เลยจะปัง
ใช่
เราเข้าปังเราตัดเลยปั๊บถูกไหม
Oh, that's the chaya that I'm talking about. See
Yeah,
how,
it's almost like a
as
punch.
I was kicking, he just twisted his body so that not only is it dodging my kick because it would just land a little bit against his back, maybe,
ไม่ต้องนิด
but he's nailing my leg.
เข้ามาเตะ
ปิดเอว
ถูก
Berkler Pinsenchai, who's in the library, has a beautiful sweep where he kicks the leg on a kick like this, except he goes really wide on it, like he really sweeps through. But this is the like lazy chaya version of it that's really beautiful. He just twists. And then look at all the counters he has
ใช่
because he's just stepping towards my standing leg.
ใช่
And because I'm kicking, as my kick comes up, the side that he's close to becomes the open side.
same
Oh,
Same. Oi.
that's like General Tanwakom, the way that he just counters by
อย่างนี้เลย
catching the kick against the thigh. By slamming my thigh with his hand as I'm kicking, he takes power out of the kick. He like stunts it. Oh
ต้อ
god.
งกล้า
His body shots are
มวยอันนี้เหนื่
insane.
อยแล้วอ่ะต่อยหน้าเขาไม่ลงเนี่ยต่อย
อาจา
ท้
ร
อ
ย์
ง
ไมเคิลอะ
ต่อยท้อง
ใช่ไหม
ใช่ปักปักปักปักปัก
ใช่
อย่าไปต่อยอย่างเดียวต่อยเขาปิดหน้าอย่างนี้ต่อยอยู่หน้าต่อยทำไม
He's
อ่ะ
like never punched just one time. Look at how he's just messing with
ตรงนี้ก็
my
มีฮะ
guard.
ปึ๊บเนี่ย
And then once you get someone tight up top and you go to the body
ใช่
and then you juk is like you take their breath away with that body
ไม่
shot,
ต่อยอย่างเดียว
they're gonna open up top.
ไม่มีประโยชน์
แบบนี้ถูกไหม
ไป
ถ้า
ที่พวก
ใกล้
ถ้าคุณปิดแบบนี้นะเขาต่อยมาปั๊บคุณก็บิดเลยเพราะ
So he's like, you punch, 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 and people have their guard.
ใช่
But there's always an opening as people are doing things. So you basically keep your guard up while people are punching, and then take your moment of timing
อย่างนี้ด้วย
to throw an elbow or something really close while someone's punching.
อ่า
But you stay close. And see how I was using my knee and then kicking his legs and staying in that same
ได้
range.
ใช่ได้
ๆร้อนดุงปังใช่ไหม
ถูก
So you get hit a little bit as Muay Thai and
As a puncher or a knee fighter, you're gonna get hit a little bit on the way
คุณ
in.
อย่ายืนรับมัน
But
เจ็บ
ใช่
ถ้าคุณยืนธรรมดา
Anytime you're throwing
คุณต้อง
something,
รู้
there's
จัก
an opening somewhere. So it's about knowing where that is. And then see how he shifts his weight?
อ่า
That's how he takes power out of those strikes that he knows he's gonna get on his way in.
ปั้งอย่างเงี้ยเจ็บแน่ยืนอย่างเงี้ย
He's like, this hurts if you're like staying right in the spot. But see how he just slightly shifts out of the way? This is rolling with the punches, but it's rolling with kicks.
มันบาลานซ์
Oh, the way he steps towards my standing leg and then you're just jacked. Like, there's no way.
Barely touched me. I'm like,
He barely touched me with his fist and it hurt so bad. He almost took my breath away just by like poking me with his
จุด
hand.
ของการมวยไทยจุดอ่อนมันอยู่ตรงไหน
Sorry.
จุดอ่อนน่ะ
He's like, you have to think about where weak points are.
This is one of my favorite things.
Sorry.
He's just poking all of the points that you can hurt people.
It's like joints.
It's the joints, the shoulders, the jaw, the body.
ถูกไหม
This is his favorite though, going under the jaw like that. It's just this like flick.
What is the weak point here? Oh, elbow here?
This is beautiful. So when you get inside someone's punch or grab and you hit the joint of their shoulder,
Sorry.
oh, they're not going to be punching too good or holding very strong after that.
Sorry. Bang.
Oh. So see how I get there from as he's trying to grab me,
งัดก่อนเลย
I just catch him so that he can't grab, and then you can attack on the inside like that. Or you can banana peel the arms down. He loves this distance though. Look at all of the things he feels. Like once you get in this distance, it's like you've just put him in his element and now he has all of this movement.
แต่ถ้าคุณไม่คืนมันจะอย่างนี้
So here he's showing how while you're already clinching, you can get these elbows in. The important thing to look at is how he's waiting for me to be swimming in. So as I'm trying to swim to the inside, he comes around to the other side. So I'm really distracted by the arm that I'm trying to get inside of. And then he just comes around the other side. So I have the arm hook. I'm the one who's going to be doing the elbow. So I've hooked his arm, and as his left arm tries to
ตอน
swim
นี้มัน
in,
คุณรัดอย่างนี้นะ ผมก็ต้องออก
he's
อ
like,
ย่าง
hold
นี้
me tight.
เวลา
As that arm starts to swim
ถูกไหม
in, I elbow with the left
ถ้า
side.
หลวมปั๊บคุณต้องชักเลย
I'm lost because I'm still hooking the
ผมไม่ทัน
arm. As
ถ้า
he
คุณยัง
tries
อยู่อ
to
ย่างนี้
come
เมื่อกี้
in,
เนี่ย
I need to bring my left glove
ผมอยู่อย่างนี้ผมอยู่อย่างนี้ถ้าคุณไม่เอาออก
to his bicep.
ผมออกมา
I don't
คุณโดน
stop
ผม
holding
ถ้า
his
คุณยัง
forearm,
ไม่เอาออกเลย
but I end up pinching it with my elbow instead of
คุณเอา
having
ไว้อ
it
ย่างนี้ก่อน
hooked
นี่
under.
ไม่ได้ออก
ไม่ต้องออก
ใช่
ใช่ไหม
ใช่
ปุ๊บมานี่ถูกไหมถูก
So
ไหม
it's like
ผม
as
เนี่
I come in,
ต่างคนอย่างนี้
ใช่
ถูกไหม
so I'm blocking him out. He
เพราะฉะ
can't
นั้น
come
ถ้าคุณ
in.
มาอย่างเงี้ยผมมันไม่ทันแล้วคุณก็ต้องออกข้างนี้มาฟันถูกไหมไอ้ตรงนี้มันอยู่อย่างนี้นะคุณก็ต้องออกข้างนี้มาฟัน
ออกนี่
ฮะ
So see how my hand had to come up
ถูก
ถ้าโอเค
to his
อาจารย์
bicep
อาจารย์ท
so that I could come across.
ำไม่ใช่อาจารย์
So I'm switching. I'm having it so that he does it.
ซินดี้
So
ข้างใน
okay. So as my arm comes in,
ใช่
เซนวี่จะทำไง
ใช่
ถูกไหม
ไม่
เซ
ใช่
นวี่ก็สอดปุ๊บผมก็ออกงี้
อ๋อ
ผมก็ออกมาอย่าง
so
นี้
you block on
And he,
one
like,
side,
unfolds it.
ลงมาอย่าง
and
นี้
then see how his hand comes out,
ใช่
but he's still pinching with his elbow
ไม่ต้องวาง
until he's ready to throw.
ใช่
บิดลงมาอย่างนี้หรือถ้าเราไม่งั้น
So the hand
เราอยู่อย่างนี้
slips out.
บิด
He does an axe elbow too. He's so like whatever.
โอ้ย
ผมอย่างนี้คุณก็ดัน
ไม่ได้
ถูกไหม
With his cauliflower
ถูกไหม
ear. It's beautiful.
Oh, the other side.
ใช่
อันนี้
ใช่
So see how on his left
ดึงอย่างนี้
side,
ไว้
he can't throw that elbow because my forearm is in there, which is why he comes around to the other
นี่
side.
อันตราย
ฮะ
So I'm like, I'm distracted
Yeah,
by
yeah,
one
yeah.
side, so I'm not thinking about the other
Opposite
elbow
side.
coming.
เอาอะไรอีกแก้อะไรอีก
But this is a big thing that I've learned from quite a few of these legends is that you make this move in the clinch when someone
ลูก
is
ไม้อะจะแก้อะไรอีกแก้
swimming
แบบ
to
ไห
the
น
inside. Because basically it's like when you're on monkey bars. Like you have to let go of one bar in order to get to the next one. So in the clinch you let go for a second. And that's actually when you're really open.
รอกรรมการ
เรากรรมการแยก
ใช่
So I'm saying that lots of women that I fight like to stay on the ropes, and they like to do this wall of China. So I'm asking what he does in this situation, especially as a puncher. He's gonna get people trying to lock him
ทำอะ
out.
ไรถูกไหมถูกไหม
He's so not bothered by this at all. Look at how he's ready to
ใช่
punch me.
เปิด
ดัน
But the important thing that he's showing here
ใช่
His arm comes
Right.
over my arm that's around his neck, and then the way he puts his
Right.
hand under my
เพราะ
chin,
ว่าเซนวี่เป็นมวย
breaks
เข่า
my
เขาต้องการซิน
position.
วี่อะแบบนี้อยู่แล้ว
like I lose a lot of power by having my head popped up like
เซน
that.
วี่ก็จะอย่างเงี้ย
ใช่
So he
ใช่ไหม
just puts his
ถูกไหมเขาการ
hand
ถูกไหม
under my
เซนวี่ก็
chin.
อย่างเงี้ย
ใช่
นะแต่อย่างนี้เขาอย่างเดียว
ใช่
He's like, this is no
เขาการ
good.
อย่างนี้เซนวี่มันไม่อย่างเงี้ย
You're basically stuck. The referee's gonna
Right.
come
Right.
stop
Right.
you, or there's nothing you can really do just pushing on the
Right.
face like that because you've like extended your power.
ตัวนี้
But by putting your
on.
hand under the jaw and lifting it,
ใช่ไหม
อ่ะเขาการไม่
but you can always punch
ถูกไหม
right into someone's body when they're doing this.
แทงไม่ได้
นี่
ก็แต่ดันดันเนี่ยดันหน้าเขาจะมองไม่เห็น
ใช่
He's like
เขา
under
ฝังเนี่ย
under the
เขา
chin,
ต้อง
push the face back.
เขางั้นเขาจะฝังไม่ได้
ตอน
ถู
นี้
กไหมถ้าคุณไม่ดันหน้าเขาจะฝังแล้ว
ใช่
คุณก็เขาก็รู้เนี่ย
ใช่
ว่าคุณจะทำอะไร
ใช่
So if you try to push forward like this, no good. But if you put your hand under the chin and break their posture,
He's like it's
then you can come forward.
ไม่ผิด
He's like, it's
ไม่
so
ผิดกติ
easy.
กา
And the referee's not going to break you. You're totally allowed to do it.
ไม่ผิดกติกา
ใช่
ถูกไหม
โอ้
อ่ะอุ๊บ
นี่
You go
There.
like this
See
from
how it
below.
pushes his head up?
under
Yeah, yeah.
นี่ใช่ไหม
ใช่
อืม
ครับนี่
ตัวนี้
Yeah. See how it pushes his head up, and then he can't put a lot of pressure.
He has the same
Anywhere, he,
like
like,
เวลาเขาลุก
power.
ปุ๊บเขาต้องฟ้าอ
It's
ย่า
the
งนี้
same in the clinch. If
Parang
you
ito,
wiggle your head
parang-
underneath someone's jaw and lift their head up, they lose,
ปุ๊บก็ปั๊บ
I don't know, like
ปุ๊บเขาต้องฟ้าอย่างนี้
20,
เขากัน
30% of
ที่
their
เขา
power
กันอย่างนี้อยู่แล้ว
immediately.
ถูกไหม
Ugh. Right into the
ถูกไหม
open side.
เขาไม่ให้คุณเข่า
ใช่
เพราะคุณก็เข้าไปเข่าเขาต้องเอาเข่าขวาง
ใช่
ถูกไหมเขาขวางคุณอยู่แล้ว
ใช่
แต่ถามคุณจะแก้ไง คุณก็ดัน
So
นั่นแหละ
he's
ดันจะแท
explaining
ง
how that's
กรรมการ
a
แยก
shit position.
อาจารย์
People,
อาจารย์โดย
men
มาก
don't really
เคย
use
จั
it,
บไหม
but a lot of women use it when you basically
Khẩu
just
chạm
like
lâu.
snuff someone's knees by putting your
อาจารย์ไม่ทำ
leg as a bar against their thighs.
ใช่
ถูกไหม
It's
Right.
pretty
Right.
easy to
Right.
solve, but if you
Right.
don't solve it,
ดัน
it's
อ
a
ย่าง
good
นี้ปุ๊บ
position.
เข้าคอล็อกคอ
ใช่
So I'm asking, do you ever try to grab, or what do you do
ใช่
in the clinch? So he doesn't want to clinch because he likes
ถ้า
punching.
ถ้าอาจารย์โดยมากก่อนก็ปีแมนมวยเข่าอยากจบทำอะไรออก
So I'm like,
Person
if
he
you
out
want to
up.
punch and a Muay Cow is coming in and wants to grab you, how do you stay out? He's like, it's so easy.
He
I just
control your.
I just keep my hand on their jaw so that they
Tremendous
can't
distance.
lock
Yeah.
ปัง
and
เขา
then
แทง
punch.
แน่ปั๊บเขาแทงแน่
ปังปัง
He's like, let them knee first. You block it and then you
Sorry.
counter.
สมัยก่อนเนี่ย สมัยก่อนไม่ใช่สมัยนี้นะ มันไม่แข็ง ถูกไหมอาจารย์ไม่แข็งเขาจับ
ใช่
ตี
ปัง
ปังนี่
ปัง
So he's saying back in his day you could do
ทำ
this.
ได้ใช่ไหม
I don't think it's a foul, but you don't see it that much anymore.
ปัง
But so as I'm trying to knee him, he's using his
Is he blocking
elbows
it with
and
his
forearms to
forearm?
just crush my thighs.
With what?
And then he goes after my
Blocking
body.
these with his forearm, but basically letting me knee into them, and then anytime my leg goes down, he's just like,
ไม่มี
So
อะไรจะสู้แล้วนี่
he's hurting me with his blocks as I'm kneeing into his forearms. And then when my legs go down, with the like pattern of my legs having to come down, he's gonna go after my body. Oh, oh,
นะกล้าตัดดีแน่นๆ
it's wicked. Look at him twist.
ใช่
See how he keeps his hip in a little bit and he like twists to create that power?
ไม่ต้องจับปังปังเว้ย
And then he steps slightly out of the way and has this
แต่อา
counter.
จารย์จะอย่างนี้จับปุ๊บ
ใช่
ตีปุ๊บ
So when I go to knee, it's the same thing of waiting for someone to swim in on the clinch and then you
สมัย
counter
นี้
on the other
มันแข็ง
side.
ทำให้
The moment I go on one leg,
เพราะเวลาแทง
I'm
ขาเดียวใช่ไหม
slightly vulnerable. That's the thing about being a kicker is that you're on one leg all the time
จับ
because
ปุ๊บ
you're
ตรงเนี้ย
kicking.
ไม่มีแล้ว
When you're kneeing, you're on one leg as you're kneeing.
เพราะว่าคุณอยากจับนี่
So having this timing of twisting, turning,
He wants this
throwing,
distance all the time.
Because his punching distance.
he
always,
basically off
distorts
balances
your
me by putting
neck,
his
too.
wrist under my jaw. See how he can move me so
เวลา
easily
เรา
from
ปั๊บ
that
คุณอย่างนี้ปั๊บ
position?
เข้าอย่างนี้ปุ๊บคุณก็ถอดมือนี้ออกไป
ใช่ใช่
So he's trying to show me how to do the same thing against him.
ใช่
As someone's trying to come in,
นี่
by putting your
ใช่ไหม
hand or your wrist under their jaw and pushing, you stop them, and then you have them at this distance where you can throw a really nice punch into their open side.
ชักออกไป ปั๊บโป้ดิ
ปัง
เออ
ใช่ไหม
ใช่
This is cool too. So I'm on the inside, but I lose my grip,
เข้า
and
มา
he's
งี้
got
ถูกไหม
me
เข้ามา
I
ฝังงี้
slip my
ดึงออก
arm
ไป
ปัง
to the
Uh-huh.
outside and
Ooh.
hook over his straight
Dance on my
arm.
feet without thinking about
So
it
if
all
you
the
have
time.
someone who
Close,
likes to
boxer.
straight arm you, you can hook over it.
อ่า
Sorry.
He was standing on my foot without even thinking about it, which means that it's very natural for
punch out
him.
of the
But
clinch.
that's
Cool.
a sign of being
Nếu có phải
super
đó,
close
ผู้หญิงอะ
is when you stand on
ยิ่งผู้หญิ
someone's
งไทย
foot.
ยิ่งโดนหมัดไม่ได้
ใช่ไม่ชอบ
It's like it's like a feeler for how close you want to be.
เออ
ใช่ไหม
Look at how you can just go
หัก
over
ไว้
that arm.
ไว้เนี่ยเขาจับเขาจับ
If you have
ตรงนี้
someone
ให้
who
จับเลย
loves to grab your neck, you can just hook over
เอา
it.
ดิ
He wants you to hook over it.
เออ
Yodkun Pan likes to elbow over it, and it's the same thing that Kongsamut was showing me here, where it's like
ยืนหลักดีๆหลักดีๆ
even if
หลั
it
กมาก
isn't super strong,
หลักขายืนหลัก
if you
ขาแน่ๆ
twist your body that much, you are gonna nail someone,
Oh.
ปั๊บหมุนเราอยู่อย่างนี้
and
อยู่
it
แล้ว
breaks their
มา
grip.
อย่างนี้
So it's a 2-for-1 because they're not gonna keep gripping
ก็
you.
สูงๆนะ
ทำได้ใช่ไหม
สูงได้หมดสูงๆ
I'm asking if your opponent is really tall, can you still do this? Because you're gonna have to like come over their arm.
มันเงยแล้วก็
And he's like, you could,
พอดปัง
but you can also come inside first and hit the jaw up, and then go over
I've
and
never
then
seen
come
a hook
up again.
out of a
So it's this
clinch
like
grab.
back and
No.
forth.
That's amazing.
It just goes over yeah
แล้วเราเล็กเตี้ยๆเล็กๆขาเราต้องพยายามยืนอยู่
So he's like, if you're short and you're small,
พอด
someone
ปล่อย
grabs
ตรง
you.
หงายปังปังปัง
So see how with that arm out straight, the body is super open.
ปัก
And then as they start to get tired from you hitting them in the body, you just keep tagging them. It's you go back into a style of like leg, punch, punch.
อีซ้ายเรามันเตะแรงกว่าอยู่ขวาเพราะเราเป็นมวยซ้าย
ใช่
ถูกไหม
ใช่
ปังปัง
โอ้
ปั๊บ
ย
Oh, look at him
แล้วก็มันเดี๋ยว
twist.
ก็อยู่
It's like
ไม่ได้
it's like chaya it's like a whole
Yeah.
body
มันเจ็บปั๊บก็ยกซ้ำเดี๋ยวก็ปาก
He's like, when you hit someone in the leg, they start flinching. They start kind of like leaping away.
ทำแล้ว
อืม
ออกได้ปัง
อืม
ใช่ไหม
ได้
So I'm
ได้
like,
หมด
if someone has grabbed
ม
already,
วยไทยทำได้
you just need to make
ทุกอ
the
ย่าง
space and you can
Awut
punch.
kai.
And he's like,
อาวุธ
absolutely.
ใกล้ก็นี่
ใช่
He's like, elbows and
Right.
punches are
Right.
awutglai. Awutglai means
Right.
like
Oi.
close range.
โอ้ย
So he's like, if
ยิ่ง
you're at
อยู่ใกล้
this
ยิ่งอัน
range,
ตราย
Right.
punches and elbows all day, just back and forth. Look at that. It's as I'm trying to come over, it's what he just showed me, how his arm is gripping me. So I'm trying to hook him on the outside, and he just elbows me before I can get to him because he's faster.
guarding
And then he's guarding my punch
And then when I
by
try to
tucking his head
adjust-
into his shoulder.
ปัง
Oh,
ใช่ใช่สวยมาก
สวย
เพ
มาก
ราะว่ามี
มีอะไรอีก
ฝรั่งไม่เข้าใจ เวลาจับแล้วทำแบบนี้ แต่ว่าไม่มีแรง ถ้าอาจารย์ปังปังปัง
so I'm like, there are Westerners who, when they get their head caught,
ยืนหลักให้ดี
they
Right.
punch the body, but there's no power. Like they're just desperately trying to get out of this position. I'm like, how come when you do it, Dieselnoy was heading
จับ
out. He's
ปุ๊บ
saying goodbye.
ยืนหลักขึ้นมา
I'm like, how come when you do it, you have so much
ดึง
power? Do you drop your weight first?
ดึงไปดึง
ใช่
And he's like, if someone has your head and they start yanking on your head, you're gonna lose some of your power. So you really want to hit as someone is pulling on you.
There are people who like get their head stuck and they can't
คุณอย่ายืนอย่างนี้
So when you have someone yanking on your neck and you're in this position and you're trying to like shovel into their belly, you don't have any power. So he's saying as they're pulling you
And you walk in
and your head
between,
goes in
like,
one
Berkler.
direction, you use that twist of your body to load the power to hit them in the body. But see how he doesn't square his feet? He's saying if you square your feet, you're just going to get yanked around.
ไม่บาลานซ์
You don't have balance.
ใช่
So even when you're in the clinch, if you want to be punching, you have to keep your feet staggered. See how he's in his normal
ไป
stance.
อย่างนี้ไม่ได้
He's like this you can't do it. You have no power.
การมวย
So if you're going to hit the body while someone is pulling on your neck,
ตลอด
ใช่
you want your feet staggered.
ข้างไหนก็แล้วแต่
ใช่
Look how pretty. Look at his knees
ไม่รู้ข้างห
and
ลัง
his feet.
ต้องการคาง
You could practice that walk he's doing
ปุ๊บ
back and forth in the gym
สลับ
all the time.
ปั๊บ
And the symmetry of his hands coming up to his face as he switches.
เพราะฉะนั้นขาคุณเนี่ยถ่ายเทน้ำหนัก
ใช่
Look at the weight on the balls of his feet and how his
วิธีการ
heels just kind of barely
ต้อง
come
รู้
up.
ให้ถ่ายเทน้ำหนักก้าวยังไงก้าวน้ำหนักแล้วไม่
This is
เสียห
the
ลัก
insane thing about these
Hey, look,
former
I'm
fighters,
Mavis, yeah.
these guys who are just so, there's so much Muay Thai in them.
สลับอาจารย์
He's not in great shape, but the way he moves, like, you
สม
can't
มติว่าไป
undo
เจอ
that.
สมมติว่าผมมวยซ้าย
ใช่
ผมไปเจอคู่ต่อสู้ เป็นมวยฝาถูกไหม
ใช่
So he's standing southpaw, and he had me go orthodox.
ใช่ปัง
ถูกไหม
ใช่
So you know which direction their kick is going to be
เว
coming
ลาเขา
from
เตะ
because they
มา
want to
ถูกไหม
use their
ผม
power
เตะมา
side.
ผมต้องใช้บังนี่เตะมาเรื่อย
So he's like, you just block whatever it is that they're
ต่อยมา
throwing.
อ่า
ทุกอย่าง
อ่า
ใช่
ถูกไหม
So he's showing me things that he showed me before. He's got the one hand
เขาเป็นมวย
closer
หมัด
and
ถู
the
กไหม
one longer.
ผมก็หมัดแต่ผมยังไม่
He's
ต่อย
blocking as I'm trying to kick.
ไปมา
And he's just keeping me at
โอ้
this
ย
distance. And then as he catches my cross, he throws into my
โอ้
ribs.
ย
That's my closed side, but that side of me
Wow.
is completely open to the kick because my arm is out
ติ
straight.
ดหน้าแล้ว ให้มันต่อยมาก่อน
ปังโอ้ย
ถูกไหม
ใช่
ยังไงผมต่อยมั่ง
He's like, right?
โอ้
Like, yeah, I feel
ถูก
it. I've never seen that
Really?
before, honestly. Like, I know that you can kick into someone's ribs or knee into their ribs when their arm is out like that, but catching that cross
ครับ
like a boxer
Oh.
and then throwing that
Ah.
kick up,
ปัง
I've not been shown
ติด
that
ทาง
ever
ป้อง
before.
กันทางเราไว้
ใช่ปัง
Oh.
ไม่ใช่นี่ตัว
มาอย่ารอด
โดนใช่ไหม
You don't keep your hand out because then it's just going to crash into your face. You keep it right by your face so that you can catch it.
ปังปัง
อย่างนี้มันไม่ถึงหรอกอย่างนี้เราก็ดึงโยก อย่างนี้เราก็โยก
So he's saying if they're coming with
ยั
a
งไม่ต้อง
hook,
เตะโยก
you
ดึง
can
ตัว
kick them before they reach you,
แต่ทำไม
ไม่อยากดึงไปก่อนดิ
อ๋อ
ดึงตัวถ้ามันมา
or you can get out of the way.
ใช่
So see how I just lean back so his hook's not going to reach me? But then he's still open because he's made that twist.
อาจารย์ได้จังหวะ
I'm asking him, do you like to go first or do you like to counter? And he's like, oh, I like to counter. But you keep moving, like you keep ready all the time.
ทำออกก่อน
Like you don't just like stand there and wait.
ฮะ
ใช่
But see how he's using his rhythm
ใช่
to kind of
He likes being a counter striker too
be
Is he
unpredictable.
left-handed?
เอาเสร็จแล้วถูกไหมออกมา
He's standing left-handed here because he showed me something as a southpaw and then just stayed that way because he's super symmetrical.
เห็นไหมปั๊บ
Oh, that's that same Chaya just nailing the standing leg on a kick.
โดนอย่างนี้ก็ได้
ใช่
เตะมาใหม่
ใช่ปังสวย
This one I really like.
ใช่
Chai shows this too. So you kind of swiff over to the side as someone is kicking, but then you hook into their
Ui, man.
open side.
ปังปัง
ปุ๊บไม่ใช่ถูกไหม
ปังปัง
ขาลง
And then he has you hit the standing leg on top of it. So you don't just only hook.
ก่อนลอง
Their leg still hasn't come down from their kick.
เห็นไหม
ปัง
เห็นไหม
Oh.
ใช่
จะไปไหนอ่ะ
ใช่
And he's like, now they've landed off balance because you hit their
Nail it before the
standing
thing
leg.
comes down on the other
And
side.
because their
Oi.
leg is on the way down, they can't dodge what you're doing to their leg.
One leg twice
โดนทุกทีเลย ไม่รับรองมันหนีไม่ได้
He's like, if you go first, someone can counter you.
แต่ถ้า
Like,
มันไม่ขึ้นคุณเตะดิ
If I don't
เขายังไม่เตะ
wait
เตะ
for
มา
his
เตะ
kick
ขามา
and hook him and then hit his standing leg,
Đúng
he
rồi.
can just move his leg out of the
Nó có đường
way.
ọt.
If I go
Để
first,
mà.
he's like, this is easy, just get out of the way.
ถูกไหม
ใช่
แต่ถ้ามันเตะมา
But if you wait for me to kick first,
ปั๊บปั๊บถูกไหมเตะมาปั๊บ
counter,
ปั๊บ
and then you have all of these other things
So
to
they can
do.
do stuff
He calls it
like,
2
if
for
you go
1.
first yeah so like if I try to kick his leg and he just blocks me or he just steps out of the way but if you nail him first and then you go or if they're kicking first and you're countering you can get like 2 for 1
รับรองได้คุณไปสอนเด็กนะโตขึ้นเก่งทุกคน
He's like, this is what I teach
ไป
kids.
เปิดยิม
He's like, when you
สบาย
start
รับรอง
out
เก่ง
ใช่
from
คนไทย
basic,
แก้ไม่เป็น
this is what you have to learn, is that you have all of these things that can continue on. Like, it's not just one strike, one technique at a time. So I'm asking him, when you hit the bag, like when you're training at home, how do you hit the bag for hooks? Because he's got this beautiful, like,
ปังปัง
hingy hook.
ปังปังปังปัง
Look at the different angles his fists go at.
ปัง
He kind of digs up and then digs down into the side.
คุณไม่ต้องให้ต่อยปังปังเตะบนเตะบนไหม
น้ำห
น้ำหนัก
He's like, you don't have to kick the middle of the bag, just kick low, just kick the legs. Like,
ไม่เหมือนกัน
don't mess with kicking the body, it doesn't matter.
ฟิตเนส
I mean, that's a high point, but for someone like him, punching and low kick was his
แต่ถ้ามวย
game.
ไทยอาชีพเนี่ยเขาต้องใช้แรงและกำลัง เหมือนสะสมเหมือนพลังมวยจี
Here
น
he's
พลังภาย
explaining
ใน
to me that there's a difference between
Đúng
Muay
rồi,
Thai
đúng
for
rồi.
fitness and amateur
Đúng rồi.
Muay Thai, and then having a
เพราะ
career as a
คุณ
fighter.
มวยมาคุณต้องรู้
He's like, if
Đúng
you're
rồi.
gonna have a career
Đúng
as a
rồi,
fighter,
phải
you need to have
Đúng rồi,
power.
phải
Like, you
làm.
need to constantly be building power, but you also need to think about the long term. So he's showing me how to distribute your weight
7
on your
8
feet.
90 7 8 90
You don't want to lift one foot off the ground ever. Like, you want it to be very balanced.
วิ่งไม่ไหววิ่งบ้างเดินบ้างกำลังขาจะดี
Running is important, is what this speech is
Saying you
about.
have to have really strong legs if you're a real fighter. Everything comes from the legs, so you have to run to have really strong legs.
หนักซ้ายขวา
And then he's showing me the rhythm, but he's like, do not lift your foot up off the ground. See how he just kind of like,
เปิดส้น
it's like the balls of his feet
น้ำหนักซ้ายข
are
วา
sticky, and then he can kind of elliptical up and down with his heels so that he can get this twisting. And he's like, the block sets up the punch. So you think about the block as being the setup for the punch.
บัง ดู
Twist
บังนี่มือบัง
and dig.
เขาก็มีหมัด
He's like, because
How
someone's
can
going to
I
hit
find
you. Like, you're not just
Đúng rồi.
hitting the bag by yourself.
เขา
So you
เคย
have
เค
to
ย
think
ต่อยเรา
about
ทำไง
the block
แล้วก็บัง
being the
ต่อย
lead
มาต่อย
in.
บนมาก่อนต่อยสมมติว่าผมบางบน
And
ไง
because
คุณต่อย
when
บน
someone is
ผมจะ
hitting
ต่อย
you,
ล่างสมมติ
they have an opening.
เห็นไหม
And so you actually want to wait for that punch.
ถูกไหม
So you want to
เขาต้อง
block
อยู่
it,
ใครเร็วแล้วปั๊บ
but you wait for them to go first so that
Bang.
you can hit that opening because you know where it's going to
อ่ะ
be.
ผมต่อยบน ผมต่อยบน
ใช่
ปั๊บอ่ะ
Oi, oi.
ใช่
คุณต้องบล็อกก่อน
ใช่
ต้องบล็อกเขาก่อนคือต้องเก็บหมัดเขาก่อน
ใช่
เขาต่อยหมัด
Saying
เราแบก
block
ก็ได้
first.
อ่า
ปังใช่
ปั๊บ
ปัง
อ่า
So it's using the block as the like setup for the punch.
เขาต่อยครั้งนี้
So you want to practice
อ่า
that. Like, you want to picture the contact,
อ่า
ใช่ไหม
ถูก
and you want to use the twist to build things up.
ทุกอย่างขา
ใช่ใส่เต็มน้ำหนัก
ใช่ So when he trains kids,
And then everything comes from the
they have to have
legs.
strong legs, and it's, you don't lift your weight off of anything, but you shift your weight. Balance always.
ต้องใช้น้ำหนักขาหนึ่งครั้ง
See how light
He's
he is
saying
on the-
use your weight. Chai nam nak. Use your weight. That's where the power comes from. Is your weight
Muay Thai
shifting on your
semuanya.
legs.
มันเป็นลูกป้องกันลูกถีบ คุณต้องรู้จักคำว่าถีบ อันนี้สอนลูกถีบเผื่อว่าเราไปสอนครับมวยไทยไม่ใช่คุณจะไปใส่ตุ๊บตุ๊บตุ๊บตุ๊บมวยไทยบางทีมัน5 ยก
So he's
2
saying
ยก
that
แค่มาชกกัน
ใช่
ถูกไหม
you have to learn
ถ้ามวย
everything in
3 ย
Muay
กโอเค
Thai. But as a fighter, you're going to end up using your favorite things, the things that feel really good to you.
ลูกเซฟเนี่ยเขาเรียกลูกบล็อกลูกป้องกันเนี่ยลูกถีบอะดีที่สุ
So
ด
he's like, look
Good
for
job.
safety. That means like safety first, block, all these things.
คุณจะออกอาวุธอะไรมา
But then
อ่า
you want to have your way into things, so you're protected, and then you can land your shot.
อ่าฮะ
So he's
ต่อย
saying in rounds 1 and 2,
อ่า
just teep, like literally only teep. Let your opponent bring their weapons out, and you're basically just snuffing everything that they're trying to do.
ออกไปเรื่อย
See how
ออกไปเรื่อย
see how he's kind of
อ่า
like
พร้อม
waltzing
พร้อ
around?
มที่จะถีบ
That's
Họ
like,
ở hút mà.
don't
Họ
stay
tệ
in one
mà.
spot
Họ
waiting
tệ mà.
for your opponent to throw things. You keep moving around, you keep shifting your weight and using technique, but you're just snuffing
คุณถีบอย่างเดียว
everything they're trying to do, literally only with the teep.
ผมเตะยัง
So see how anytime he's coming to kick or punch, I'm not even hitting him hard. I'm just interrupting him with the teep.
ถีบไว้ แล้วก็ยกหนึ่งเดี๋ยว
He's like, in round 1, you do all of this teeping just to interrupt and annoy your opponent.
มาอ่า
But eventually they're going to get wise. Like, they're going to see that you're only teeping, and they're going to try to start catching you.
หากูเตะไปมึงถีบ
So now
อ่ะ
you're
ถีบไป
teeping and teeping.
กูเตะมากูถีบ
It was working, but now they're ready for you and they catch you. And he's like, so now what do you do? Now you start kicking.
So round 1, you can just teep as they're taking their weapons out, but eventually they're going to start catching it, and then you change, then you start kicking. You like progress.
บางทีเราไม่นะเราเปลี่ยนละเขาเตะปุ๊บ
He's like, okay, so now you switch. Now you're kicking all the
เป
time.
ลี่ยนคอร์สหมัดก็ได้ต่อยหมัดก็ได้ฮะ
But you look like you're going to teep or you look like you're going to kick and then you start punching. So basically you've got them used to this idea of you teeping all the time, like that's the trigger. And then you use that fake to start bringing in your other weapons.
หาโดนจังหวะบาน
So I'm like, in a 5-round fight, in rounds 1 and 2, you start out just doing technique. Like 1 and 2, you're just teeping,
จำไว้
just kicking
คุณ
a
อยาก
little
ชกห้า
bit.
ยกจะอยากชกยกเดียว
See?
ไม่สมมติว่า
And he's like, Muay Thimur, in a 5-round fight, only like to fight one of those
ถ้าคุณ
rounds.
อยากชกก็ยกเดียวแล้วสองยก
Like, they'll only go hard in one of those rounds, but they're basically annoying you all
เพ
the
ราะคุณ
time.
เป็นมวยหมัดต่อยน็อกได้
He's like, it's different with punchers, because punchers can knock you
อย่า
out.
ไปออกเล่นท็อกแจ๊กอย่าไปออก
So
Bye.
even in round 1, a puncher is going to try to punch because
ยกแรก
they
ที
might
เดียวโป้งก็
hit
ลง
you
น็อกแล้ว
and knock you
นับ
out.
แล้วอะทำ
And
ไง
then
อะ
So
you
he's
get
like,
paid the same
everyone
whether you
kicks
fight
is
5
like
rounds or
1
1
and 2
round.
off, but if you're
So
a
try to
puncher,
do it
just go,
early.
'cause you're gonna knock them out in rounds 1 or
But
2.
in him showing me that you start out the first round teeping and then you start bringing the kicking, this is to have a full fight for gambling purposes. This is to have a longer career and protect yourself. This is also to tire out your opponent so that if you end up only fighting 1 round out of the 5 in terms of like how hard you're fighting, your opponent is more tired.
ยกหนึ่งก็ได้
But he's like, as a puncher, you can go hard in round 1 because you're going to be nailing people.
ก็ได้ 5,000
ใช่
คุณเอาคุณ
Here's where he's saying like you get paid the same whether it's 5 rounds or 1 round, so knock him out in round 1.
ถูกไหม
Why
เพราะ
not?
เขาตกลงราคามาแล้วสมมติว่าตกราคาลงราคาเรามา10,000ถูกไหมแล้ว
ถ้าโดยมันไม่ตัวเหนื่อยไหม
ฮะ
มีแรง
So I'm like,
มันมีอยู่แล้ว แต่
as a puncher, you have to have a lot of power, right?
การต่อยหมัด
And he's like, it's the same as a knee fighter.
ต่อยโดยไม่
You
หายใจอย่างเดียว
dun, like you walk. You need to be
มวยสากล
durable and strong.
ใช่
เพราะเขารู้จักว่าต่อยมีเบามีหนัก
But
มี
he's
เบา
like-
มีหนักมีแรง
ใช่
If you're gonna fight 5 rounds, you cannot swing hard every punch for 5 rounds. You want to mix it up in the same way that you use like teeps to get people off of you and get distance. As a puncher, you use lighter punches to set up. So if you're going to go 5 rounds and you're going to burn all the time, you can't just swing endlessly. You want to kind of have this high and low, light and heavy, like kind of mixing everything up so that you can keep going. But because you have to stay close, you have to be really strong as a puncher or as a knee
มัน
fighter.
นับลงไปแล้วมันลุกขึ้นมาไม่ต้องรีบไปต่อยไม่ต้องรีบเข้าไปต่อย
ใช่
He's like, when you hit someone and you have them hurt, the most important thing is not to hurry. Like, don't rush.
ใช่ไหม
Once you get someone Mao is what they call it. It's like dizzy or drunk by hitting them in the head, like when you're kind of wrung. Once you get someone like that, you breathe and you slow down because then you want the accuracy to be what really knocks them out. It's not power, it's accuracy that knocks people out.
อวดไปดิ
So the power is what stuns someone, and then accuracy is what really knocks them out.
ใช่รอ
ล่อเขาเรียกล่อหลอกล่อ
Ra means like wait, right?
ใช่
เตะขาเมื่อกี้ทีมันเพราะมัน
So see how you get someone
มันผิดคนแล้วอะ
annoyed in the legs or like kind of flinching for their legs, and that's when you can get that shot up
เมา
top.
แล้วไม่ต้องรีบใช่ไหม
ไม่ต้องรีบรอเอาอัง
ใช่ไหม
เน้นสูดหายใจเยอะๆ
This is great. So I'm asking about when you have someone dizzy or someone wrung,
มันเตะ
and
มา
they're
ก็ไม่
kind
หนั
of
ก
like swaying like
มัน
this.
ต่อยมาก็ไม่หนัก
ใช่
มันจะเหวี่ยง
He's like,
ศ
you
อก
don't
มา
have to
ก็
hit
ไม่หนัก
hard
รู้แล้ว
when
เหวี่ยง
someone
ศ
is
อก
like
มา
that.
ให้ดีเดี๋ยวเดี๋ยวแล้วก็
He's like, then you just start pulling their guard away.
ถูกไหม
Because even if someone is
เรา
wrung,
รีบเข้าไปต่อย
if they're well trained, they're going to keep their guard up. They're going to try to protect themselves. But because they're wrung, you can kind of just like sweep it out of the way.
ถูกไหมถ้ามันเข้าเราเข้าไปใกล้ปุ๊บตรงเนี้ยมันเมามันติดเชือกแล้วเนี่ยเราไม่ต้องรีบต่อยกันแล้ว
ใช่
He's like, when someone is mal, you don't have to hurry. You just kind of take your time to find that shot.
เพราะมันกลัว
ใช่ He said the first thing when your opponent is like dizzy, the first thing he does is
Take a
Yeah.
breath.
take a
So,
breath. It's totally like
The
a general
second you
feeling.
see that your opponent is kind of dizzy and wrung, he takes a breath. He's like, okay, now I can slow down and start looking for
มั
that
นโด
shot
น
that I
บน
want.
เนี่ยมันก็บังบนท้องก็ว่าด
Puts it on knock.
He's like, hitting someone on the jaw is great, but hitting someone in the solar plexus and taking the wind out of them is way more effective.
ติดสิ้นเบาๆ
I'm like, yeah, when you barely touched me, I wanted to die. It was like so hard.
ปังใช่ไหมฉันอยากทำแบบนี้เพราะว่า
Kevin was talking about this the other day. Something he was reading is that A lot of times when you hit someone in the face, they get kind of like angry or it like spurs them on. People can kind of handle getting hit in the face. When you hit someone in the body, it does not like invigorate you to come after someone. So that's kind of what he's saying here, of how hitting someone in the jaw is okay. It's good. It's not bad to hit someone in the jaw, but hitting someone in the body is what's really going to slow them down. I was telling him that I really want to hit my opponents in the body because I know how effective it would be, but I can't get my distance right. Like when I'm on my way in and in perfect body punching range, I kind of rush through it. So here he's just having me throw these uppercuts kind of into the body and then coming up top to the head, like feeling how body shots and head shots going high and low work together. But more importantly, by just swinging back and forth, like just 1-2 in each direction, I should be learning how to distribute my weight in this back and forth. Because you do this when you fight. Your weight is always going from one foot to the other. Anytime you throw something, your weight has to transfer to the other side. So by learning this feel of like back and forth, high and low, when you finish a strike or you dodge or you block and you find yourself in that position, you already feel that as the trigger to these loaded shots coming from the other side. It's like when you're walking, one foot has to go in front of the other, and you don't think about it. Like once one foot is in the front, you know it's going to pull the other foot forward. That's how you want to think about training this back and forth, is that you naturally feel how the other side has to come in order to keep the movement going. It's like walking. It's just the one foot in front of the other. It's swing one side back to the other. He's saying keep guarding. Like as you hit, make sure that your guard is still up on the opposite side. You want to feel these positions. You can see how I'm kind of like not quite hitting the pads right with the right part of my knuckles all the time. But it's because I'm overthinking the movement. The reason to do something like this, like a whole round of just back and forth, and you can do it yourself on the bag, is to feel the back and forth of the movement and let the corrections happen as you go. By overthinking it, I'm missing things that will kind of work themselves out on their own just by the feeling. So here he's moving the pads to different heights so that I can feel the high and low of like where that shot is. But it's got a nice swing. Like even though it was kind of hard, the swing of back and forth is really nice. So these are kind of like jaw level. He's like, you don't have to hit super hard. Just get the right pop on it. So see how he's changing from uppercuts and body hooks to hooks up on the head. This is learning the high and low. He's like, you don't have to punch hard. The power comes from the twisting and from your feet. So this is actually the same lesson as the twisting, except now I'm only throwing my cross and he only wants power. But he wants me to feel how that power comes from the shift of weights by doing the same strike over and over and over again. You work out the differences, or you work out the problems in the technique or the like wonk that you feel by having to keep going with it. So here, he's just doing a cross and your power kick. So it's just throwing your power side at someone over and over, like just power kick, power punch, power kick, power punch. This is building power, but it's also feeling where your body is so that when you've done all these things to set it up, you're able to throw that power shot. immediately from where your body is.